A Central Florida man is preparing to be a prime witness during the upcoming FDA hearing on antidepressants.
The FDA wants to know if the medication can cause children to become violent, even kill themselves or other people. The witness is a Sumter County dad who says an antidepressant designed to help his child turned him into a killer instead. Tonight he shares his story with News Channel 2's Stephen Stock.
Whenever Joe Pittman visits the family pond in front of his Sumter County home, he thinks of his mom and dad, Joe Frank and Joy Pittman.
My dad and my mom were my best friends in the whole world.
Their graves lie not far away from Joe's home in a windswept remote cemetery, both buried together as they died 2 years ago. Shot to death in their South Carolina retirement home, the home then set on fire and completely destroyed.
Oh, it's been heart-wrenching.
Especially painful because of who's charged with the murders. A 14-year-old boy, Joe Pittman's own son, the victim's grandson, Christopher, who dug out the pond by hand.
He got here and dug and dug and dug.
But because of the arrest and the murders, he never got to see the pond completed.
And Christopher told me when he did what he did, it was like he was watching TV and there's nothing he could do to change the outcome of it.
Joe doesn't blame his son, but the antidepressant drugs Paxil and Zoloft that a family doctor gave to Christopher just weeks before the murders.
It's definitely the medicine. I know 100% in my heart it was a medicine.
Joe Pittman isn't the only one who believes that. Researchers now question whether these type of antidepressant drugs cause more harm than good when used in children. One study shows a quarter of all children on drugs such as Paxil and Zoloft become dangerously violent and or suicidal. And on Tuesday, the FDA sent out a warning recommending doctors and parents not put their children on these type of drugs.
Children are not little adults, and this sort of solidifies that. Medications that work for adults do not necessarily work the same for children.
As he feeds the family goldfish at that pond, Joe wishes for the day when Chris gets out of prison and returns.
I think he'd be out here every day chasing goldfish.
Christopher has yet to see his handiwork, his pond, finished and teeming with life.
And I'm hoping one day he will.
Now, the dangers of these type of medications in children have been well known in the United Kingdom for quite some time. In fact, Britain and Ireland have both warned their doctors not to give these medications to children for more than several months now. But it wasn't until this week, in fact Tuesday, that the FDA here in the United States issued a similar warning. The maker of Zoloft, Pfizer, did not want to comment on our story, and the maker of Paxil, GlaxoSmithKline, says that Paxil has never been indicated or properly tested for use in children. That's the latest. I'm Stephen Stock, News Channel 2.
Dr. Todd Hussey joins us now. And is this advisory for any use of these drugs or just for use against depression?
Well, again, like Stephen said, it's never actually been allowed or never really been indicated for use in children, except many pediatric psychiatrists do use it for a number of disorders, including things like ADD and ADHD. But the advisory is for use in children with MDD, that is major depressive disorder. And that's the confusion, is because those kids are already at high risk for suicide, so it gets a little bit confusing.
Sure.
Probably the most important thing we can tell people right now is don't discontinue the drug without talking to your physician.
Right.
They're bad drugs, so just stop. Okay?
All right, Todd, thanks a lot.